Welcome, and what a beautiful day to celebrate the opening of the City of Los Altos Community Center. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jay Logan.
And I'm Claudia Coleman.
And to start the program, join us with a warm welcome to City of Los Altos Mayor Nisa Feiger. Nisa. Vice Mayor Anita Enander. And council members Lynette Liang, Sally Meadows, and Jonathan Weinberg. And let's give rousing welcome to Santa Clara County Supervisor Joe Simidian, District 5. Assembly Member Mark Berman, 24th California Assembly District. We would like to ask the elected and appointed officials and dignitaries joining us today to please stand up and be recognized and welcomed. Please stand if you're an appointed or an elected official.
Why are we the ribbon-cutting ceremony MCs today? Jay and I have history. Think of this as a public-private partnership. Jay was the assistant city manager in the early part of 2017 and took point in coordinating city staff to support the efforts of the task force appointed by City Council. She's definitely public. And I was appointed by City Council to be the Community Center Task Force Chair. Private. Together, we will all forge ahead, and here we are now to reflect for a few moments. Let's take a look back.
Over the decades, building a new community center was the topic of frequent discussions. There were a number of proposals, a bond measure, many committee meetings, projects to address the aging Hillview Community Center, and nothing happened other than a series of repair projects. The burden of making something happen was felt by all. It had reached critical mass. Something had to happen. What was that to be?
This is like reading the last chapter of the book first. The conclusion is right beside you. The visual presence of this beautiful building tells the story. Something did indeed happen. Before we define success from multiple points of view, we must first enjoy some pomp and circumstance with the color guard and the national anthem. Please stand for presenting the colors by Daisy Scout Troop 61086 and Brownie Troop 60615. They will be followed by, and keep standing, singing the national anthem by Asha Romahan of the Los Altos Youth Theater.
Girl Scout attention. Please salute for the presentation of colors. Color Guard advance. Color Guard post the colors. Color Guard salute the colors. The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it's one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. colored garter sheet.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you all. And with that, I'd like to introduce Senator Josh Becker. Please. 15th Senate District, Senator Becker, thank you for joining us so much. Moving on, joining us today are representatives of the state president of the California Park and Recreation Society, are members of the State Board of Directors. The CPRS fosters the idea that parks make life better. Please welcome to the stage Nicole Acquisti and Lauren Merriman. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
The mic is all yours.
Oh, excellent. I do love a good mic. All right, welcome everybody. Lauren and I would like to thank the City of Los Altos for including the California Parks and Recreation Society, commonly referred to as CPRS, in today's amazing event. CPRS is a professional membership society with over 3,000 parks and recreation professionals in California alone, including staff here today. CPRS exists for the success of its members and for providing education, resources, networking, and advocating for the critical programs, services, and public spaces within each of our communities.
On behalf of the California Park and Recreation Society Board of Directors, we extend our sincere congratulations to the City of Los Altos on the opening of this amazing new community center and look forward to hearing about the many programs and classes and events that will be hosted here. True to our Parks Make Life Better brand, this community center will add value to the community's lives, providing exercise and learning opportunities for all ages, provide a safe space for gathering for decades to come. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you for joining us today and for saying a few words about park and recreation in our communities. Who better to give us a short Hillview Community Center history lesson than the chair of the Los Altos History Museum Board, Gary Hedden, who wears many community hats and is known as a passionate environmentalist. And to quote the recent Town Crier article that announced Gary being named Green Town Los Altos Environmental Hero of 2021. Gary is a relentless optimist, and we need a lot of that today. Gary, please, you are primed now to give us a history lesson. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Jay and I go back a long ways, actually. We were on the Environmental Commission, me on it, she staff liaison in 2013. That's when I started with that. So good to see you again, Jay. So what a beautiful building. How many remember when it was the Hillview Community Center? Everybody, right? Just about. How many remember when it was Hillview School? Well, quite a few. How many went to that school? There we go. Now we're talking. I wasn't even here at that time, but good for you. So I've been asked to give you a 2-minute history lesson, and I call it How We Got Here Today. So the school was built in 1949. And then that was after the post-war, and the school enrollment was going up. It peaked in 1966. And the school district decided in 1975 to sell it to the city, and the city turned it into the community center that same year. Okay, we're making good progress. Fast forward a few decades, people started thinking that it's time to rebuild it, have a nice new community center. There were many efforts, many thoughts. It finally came to a head in 2015. There was a proposal put to the city residents, a vote. Measure A, remember that? $65 million. And guess what? The residents said, no thanks, and in a landslide, voted it down, 71% no. So the city council, led by Mayor Jan Pepper at that time, I don't know, is she here today? Hi, Jan. They said, we don't take that as a no to the community center, we take that as a no to the cost. So they sat back, and the council worked on a different budget, one that the city could actually afford, and pull together a community center task force led by Claudia Coleman, and took in a lot of input from the residents. We got to hear and see firsthand the decisions that were necessary to create the programming, including some of the hard decisions, because quite frankly, it couldn't accommodate everything that everybody wanted. We even got into the details of the shape, the size, the look, the floor plan, and the colors and the materials. It was actually pretty fascinating. And that's how we got here today, basically. I think that's actually a very good recipe for public success with public projects. Make it a realistic budget, lots of community input, and be transparent. So let's see, I'm looking forward to the tour, which will start soon. But I want to say one thing first. In the northwest corner, there's a little room there, and we have a pop-up museum, okay? I've got to represent the museum. And Dr. Elizabeth Ward, our executive director, made it her mission to collect some of the things from the school and the community center before and even during the demolition. So we collected that stuff, and some of it is on display, and I think you're going to enjoy the drinking fountain. It's about this high off the ground. It was for grade school kids, okay? But it's really charming. And then go over to the History Museum. It's right over there. We have a great exhibit. Annie Knapp Fitz paints, A Legacy in Art. I really enjoy her artwork. But every painting tells a story, some history. We're open till 4, so be sure to go check it out. Thank you very much.
I think you're an optimist and a promoter, Gary. Thank you very much. Within a month of the task force coming together, several task force members along with city staff interviewed architectural firms, and Noel and Tam was chosen. They were an integral part of every task force meeting as they listened to community feedback and helped craft and design a center based on words and visuals. The art of their contribution stands behind us in this building. The decor, the design, and the spirit of the community. Noel and Tam were inclusive and embraced the task force, the council, and staff, and they gained insight into the community to reflect a vision of our community's new home. With great pleasure and appreciation for their talent, I would like to introduce Janet Tam and James Gwyce.
Thank you, Claudia. Mayor Flagger, City Council members, and all of our Los Altos friends here today. James and I are so proud to be here and to represent really the entire design team. It really takes a whole cast of thousands to see this day finally arrive. And we're just as excited as you to have what was just in our imaginations more than 4 years ago come to life for all of us today. James is going to speak about the character and design of the new community center in a second, but before that I just wanted to agree with Gary actually that in all of our 30 years of being community architects, the most successful projects grow out of an inclusive design process that invites all citizens to have a voice and tell us their ideas and their concerns, so that at the end of the day, the building is really a design that is a reflection of what's meaningful to you, and so that everyone who enters, and I hope when you enter in a few minutes, that you feel like you belong. We want to thank the town of Los Altos for committing to exactly this kind of community process. And as Claudia mentioned, we spent months working with the excellent Citizens Task Force, the dedicated Design Development Working Group, read over 400 public survey responses, had a public open house so that we could design a project together that fit into not only Los Altos now, but also looks forward into your future. So our starting place, one of our starting places was with the town's motto. Los Altos is a great place to raise a family, and we hope that the new community center will help fulfill that vision, whether you're a senior or a teen or a toddler.
Thank you, Janet. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we got to where we are in terms of design, talk a little bit about the building. We first came to the site in 2017, and the first place we encountered is actually the History Museum, wherever Gary's gone. And we were taken by the pathway there and the gardening and the development of that space. And that became our inspiration to put the building in a park, which is what you've seen today. The building is integrated with the landscape. We've taken great care to be sure that there's an indoor-outdoor connection with all the spaces. The building looks onto the landscape looks into the building. We've brought the courtyard into the building center, so it really is a building in a park. And now for the building itself, and I'll be quick because I know why talk about it when we can go on and actually see the real thing. But the community center is all about you guys. As Janet said, we spent a lot of time working with the community to get it right, and we think of this building as the city's living room in a way. And that guided our thinking about materials and what kind of spirit we wanted to invest this place. So the character of the building is a blend of traditional and contemporary forms and materials. And working with the community, we shape those materials into the building that you see now, building on both, all around us we've got the Neutra House, the Packard Center, the Eichler houses, and the Civic Center. We've joined all that into this building and made it a place of Los Altos. And the building speaks to the character of the community. We really wanted to bring that through. We looked for a long time for the keystone, and I think we found it in the nature of the materials and the way they're shaped. The building is a green building. It's designed to be LEED Gold equivalent. It's an all-electric building with enough solar panels, and today's a great day for that. Enough solar panels to power the building, or at least 90%. In a little time we'll know how well we've done, but a significant amount of the building's energy is produced right here on site and given back to PG&E. It's designed with a highly efficient skin so we can reduce the heating and cooling loads in the summer and wintertime. And conserve energy. There's efficient ventilation systems, daylighting throughout the building. There's a lot of light in the building without the use of electric lighting, so that's a plus. The water-saving features throughout, and healthy building materials for good indoor air quality. So there's a lot more that I could say, but I think we want to get in there and see the thing. So just to close, it's been a really exciting project for us, one of the best. And we thank the city council, city staff, everybody in the community, our engineers, other architects working with us, the craftspeople, Gonzalez and Strunk. We wouldn't be here without them. We've never built a building in a pandemic. So it's a first for everybody, and we are so happy to be here today. Thank you, everybody.
James brought up the fact about the building, and Keith Gonzalez is, I'm sure, here. He did the heavy lifting. Where are you? All right. This gentleman and his company are the people that built this building throughout the last couple of years, and it was a big project, and thank you so much. It's a beautiful production here. This is a great time just to do a quick pass of the task force members and for them to stand and you can recognize them. I think they're all in one group. Really? So it's Maria Batista, Philip Chow, Brian Silker. If you could stand up. Catherine Cushing, Stuart Ekman, Stuart Klein, Kathy Lazarus, Barbara Lobner, Susan Mengender, and Dennis Young. Oh, they're all spread out. Oh, there's Dennis. Great, excellent. And addressing staff.
Please recognize the city staff who worked effectively alongside the task force members to significantly support the efforts of the task force. The role of the task force was to hold public meetings, to gather community input, and provide a recommendation to City Council on the interior space allocation, exterior design, and layout of the community center. The task force meetings commenced in June of 2017, concluded after 13 public meetings, with a final report to Council in December of 2017. Council approved the community center. City staff members who provided assistance to the task force, please stand up to be recognized. Jamie Chu, Zach Dahl, Sarah Hendricks, Manny Hernandez, Chris Jordan, Chris Lamb, Erica Ray, and Teresa Yee. During the groundbreaking ceremony on October 8th, 2019, Mayor Liang made the comments. The new community center is designed by members of the community to serve the entire community with a focus of multi-generational gathering spaces, both indoor and outdoor, dedicated space for teens, seniors, and preschoolers, environmentally conscious design to be LEED Gold equivalent, solar panels, meeting rooms, catering kitchen, gathering places for community events. What was hoped has now become the president. Thank you, Mayor Liang.
So how is success defined? Don't leave me, Jay. Does the community center serve residents of all ages?
Check.
Was the center built within budget?
Check.
Was it completed on time? Well, let's talk about this first. Since 2020 was a lost year, your dance cards were all empty. The History Museum was closed, the library was closed, no plays at the bus barn, although there were virtual performances. City personnel were all working remotely, except for hopefully the police department. So let's do the math. Groundbreaking was in October 2019. The ribbon cutting today, October of 2021. 2020 has been universally decided as a lost year. So voila. This beautiful production was built in 1 year.
And I check to that.
Does design maximize indoor-outdoor living? Another check.
Oh, check.
The majority of all spaces
Check.
have access to the outside. There are many sliding doors and outside patios. The design could not be more practical for distancing, for airflow during these very unusual times. What we had not anticipated was that this parking lot would become a major venue site. And I think it's working.
Check. This is a great day for Mayor Flieger, the City Council, the community, and city staff. Please give a rousing hand and welcome to Mayor Flieger, who will present a few remarks and introductions. Mayor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Kathy Lazarus back there, can you hear me? Great. Thank you. And I'll try to be brief. We apologize we couldn't arrange for a cooler day, but thank you for being here. Thank you for bearing with us. And we'll try to get through the ceremony quickly so you can get inside the building and see the beautiful new community center. Can we get another round of applause for the color guard? Weren't they the cutest? and of course the national anthem, that beautiful rendition. Can we get an applause for the singer? Thank you. What a special moment for Los Altos. We did it. On behalf of the entire Los Altos City Council and city staff, it is my honor as mayor of Los Altos to welcome you to the ribbon cutting ceremony. Thanks to our residents, our elected officials, community leaders, neighbors, for joining us in this ribbon cutting celebration. I know there's some joining us virtually. Thanks for joining us as well. As I reflect, and I know you heard a lot about this from the other speakers as well, but as I reflect on what we've all gone through these last 18 months, this community celebration could not have come at a better time. So many of you have reached out to me and said, we're looking forward to the celebration, or we're looking forward to the tour, because it's something we can celebrate, especially based on the last 18 months we've all experienced. So thanks again. As you can imagine, for the mayor's reflection, there's a lot to reflect on when we think about how we got here, and I know Mr. Hedden touched on this already. But let me start by thanking Jay Logan and Claudia Coleman, our MCs, for this afternoon. When staff told me that they would be our MCs, my response was perfect. Because not only are they naturals at hosting events, but as you heard, they played critical roles in moving our community center forward. Jay Logan was the assistant city manager and worked on this project and helped to lay the foundation to move it forward. And as you heard, Claudia Coleman was the chair of the task force. And I'm glad she recognized the task force members. I was planning to do that. Thank you, Claudia. A lot of us think of Claudia and think of the LEAD program because she has taught so many of us about Los Altos. But related to the task force, it was not an easy task. And she rose to the occasion. And I still remember Claudia coming to the first task force meeting. It was in the old community center. And looking at all these new task force members, and I'm sure they were all wondering, what did we get ourselves into? But congratulations, you did it, and I would like to do a round of applause for the task force. This task force presented the proposal that went to the city council that approved the project before us. Now, speaking of city councils, there's so many council members and former mayors to thank for getting us to this point. In my much younger days, and my kids hate when I say that, I would run 50-meter, 100-meter, and relay races. And I keep thinking the process that got us here today is very similar to a relay race. All the different councils before us, and city staff and community members, are part of Team Los Altos Community Center, and each had a leg in the race. Now, there are many who believe that the first and last leg, those who are familiar with sprints and relays like I am, there are many who believe the first and last leg of the relay are the most important, and where you put the fastest runners. But I still remember our track and field coach telling us that each leg was important. There were a few different councils that ran the first legs. And although they weren't able to lead us to the finish line, as we heard earlier, they kept going. They explored different designs, funding sources, but the community never gave up on building a community center. So I want to thank those council members before us who kept this project going. The city council I want to recognize, and Mr. Heading touched on that, and I would like them to stand and be recognized because they were the ones who gave us the baton. And when they gave us the baton, they were way ahead. They had done a lot of the heavy lifting, and even though we had the anchor leg, our task was easy. So I would like to ask Mayor Jeannie Bruins, Mayor John Mordeau, Mayor Pepper, and Mayor Prochnow to stand and get the recognition they deserve. Thank you again also for making us sit on the stage. And we talked about this, the fact that we're the ones, obviously I'm the mayor giving the speech and we're up here, but we all know they all belong up here and they're with us here in person celebrating this joyous occasion. I also want to thank staff, and I know a couple speakers already recognized the staff members, for their tireless work behind the scenes and showing up time and time again to our council meetings to answer our questions. What is very special about the commitment that we saw from staff is that they didn't view this community center as the Los Altos Community Center or their employer's community center or just a job. They really viewed it as their community center, and that was very special. And in recognition that we were able to do this during a global pandemic, as we just heard from Claudia, there's a special time capsule activity somewhere in the community center on the tour that we're asking each person to fill out. We're going to bury the time capsule here, somewhere on the property, just to reflect the fact that, we were able to complete this project during a global pandemic. The names that were called out earlier on staff, I do want to recognize them, but there were a couple other names that weren't mentioned, and I do want to thank them as members of the staff. In no particular order, there's Peter Maslow, who was the project manager, Donna Legge, or Parks and Recreation Director, Jim Sandoval, Engineering Director, Andrew Singh, who is our IT manager, Sonia Lee, who is our PIO or Public Information Officer, Trevor Marson, who we know does everything, Deputy City Manager John Maginot, interim city manager who's no longer with us, Brad Kilger, and of course we have to recognize our current city manager, Gabe England, although he's not able to be with us here today. He may be watching. He helped us to put together at least this event, so he did play a small role. So can we please get a round of applause for the staff members? You already heard from the architects, but I also want to thank them for their patience and flexibility. They did an amazing job capturing the different details and elements that we wanted to see in the building. Our Los Altos History Museum also contributed some beautiful art pieces that you will see on the tour. And when I think of the history of Los Altos, I also want to honor and recognize the Ohlone Native American tribes who lived on this land and or used this land long before we were here. The local Muwekma Ohlone tribe actually visited the site a couple weeks ago to do a special blessing ceremony, and I don't know if any representatives from the tribe are here today, but I do want to especially thank and recognize them as well. Finally, I want to touch on what this community center means for our community. It is a symbol of collaboration, resilience, and perseverance. It represents what we can achieve as a community. It is a place for our community to gather, engage, and socialize. I am most excited about the dedicated spaces you heard about earlier, the teen space, the senior space. And wait till you see the grand Oak Room. Most importantly, this is your community center. Please use it and enjoy it. And I will end by reading the inscription on the community center's plaque, which you'll see on the tour. This community center honors our heritage and history, protects the environment and our well-being, and creates community and a sense of place for all. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite my colleagues on council to stand, as I also invite Supervisor Simidian to the podium to present us with a proclamation. And I know Supervisor Simidian does not need an introduction to the Los Altos community. You know, he's a former Palo Alto School Board member, former Palo Alto City Council member, former state representative, and now doing his second stint on the Board of Supervisors and is our representative. And we all know how much he cares about our community, how much he loves Los Altos, and it is an honor to have him today to present the proclamation to the City Council and to the city. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And now that I've been described as someone who can't hold a job, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to do double duty today. Our dear friend and good Congresswoman Anna Eshoo had hoped to be here today. She was called away at short notice, so it is my privilege to first convey on her behalf to the City Council the American flag, which has flown over our U.S. Capitol and will fly over the center here in the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. And it is her hope that this conveys the connection that Los Altos has with folks across the country, all the way back to our capital. Madam Mayor and Council, from Congresswoman Anna Eshoo. The mayor had to remind me that we had to stand still for the picture. Thank you for that. And then, on behalf of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, and I have to tease Los Altos, my friends on the Los Altos Council, past, present, by unanimous vote, 5-0, we convey through a series of whereas clauses and therefore be it resolved our congratulations and thanks. But here's what the resolution can't capture that I want to convey to you as well. Yes, we are here to say congratulations and thanks. Yes, we are here to celebrate an extraordinary facility and design. But I hope you all take a moment today to think about the years ahead, when the smallest and youngest members of the community will be here, growing well and wisely because of your vision, when the oldest members of the community will be here, connected, not isolated, not feeling alone in their homes because they have a place to gather and meet, when friends make acquaintance here and build their friendship for years and years and years to come. And forgive me, I'm just moved by the spirit of the moment. When young men and women meet each other, fall in love, one day marry, and with a little affordable housing, raise their families here in Los Altos. Thank you so much. Congratulations. You've done an extraordinary thing. I hope you understand and are proud of that. By the authority vested in me under the Charter of the County of Santa Clara, I say to your council, please go forth and cut the ribbon.
We can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now, please welcome the Los Altos Youth Theater Group, cast of The Descendants, for a closing song, Better Together.
have to win the goal all on your own.
We're a team, now we're stronger.
Don't have to face the whole world all alone. 'Cause we all belong here.
The road could be hard and the night could be dark, but like stars we'll shine brightly wherever we are.
If we stick to the dream, we'll never fall apart.
Because we're better together, stronger side by side. This is our moment, it's our time. So we're different, whatever, everyone can shine. One generation in its prime. 'Cause we're better together.
Are stronger, all of us together. Only makes us better, only makes us better. We are stronger, all of us together. Only makes us better. Because we're better together, stronger side by side. This is our moment, it's our time. So we're different, whatever, everyone can shine. One generation in its prime. 'Cause we're better together. Because we're better together. Because we're better together.
Well, guys, that was terrific. You raised the energy in this big parking lot tremendously. Thank you. Great. Bravo. For all of us involved, our excitement was in the engagement process of jointly planning, discussing, and concluding how to build a facility for the community. We hope that understanding the history, the architects, the builders, the construction, community input, decisions by council, dedicated work by the task force and staff, you have a glimpse of being on this journey with us. Now we invite you to continue this journey on this next path and give purpose to the center, new and fresh, that it will become a community home. It takes living in a space to truly make something a home. That's our collective job moving forward. I would like to thank Donna Legge, Director of Recreation and Community Services, and the entire recreation staff for all the work it has taken to pull the celebration together, prep the center, and make it ready for us to rumble. I know you're all excited to check out the new community center. It's tour time. I'm pleased to introduce Recreation Manager Jamie Chu, who will present the details of the tour and send us on our way. Thanks so much for being here for this ceremony. Jamie?
Thank you so much for helping us in celebrating this momentous occasion. A few housekeeping items before we release everyone to see our beautiful brand new Los Altos Community Center. We would like the back half of the audience to enter via the courtyard. The front half of the audience, please walk around to enter through the main entrance closest to the Hillview baseball field. As you enter the facility, please remember that masks are required indoors. Each space will have a host that will assist in answering questions and monitoring traffic flow and spacing. We ask if you notice a room is already well occupied to please wait to enter. Each space will have the windows and doors open, fans operating, and air purifiers placed. There will also be hand sanitizer available in each space as well. We're happy that food is provided by State Street Market and will be available to pick up inside the courtyard. We ask that food be eaten outside. We're also happy to share that Morgan Bricka is painting live this afternoon in the South Lobby. Please stop by to take a look. Also, as was mentioned before, there will be a time capsule activity which will be stationed in the Grand Oak Room. I would also like to highlight that there are a lot of activities in our Civic Center campus. The library is hosting family activities in their parking lot. along with having their Go-Go Biblio available as well. The Los Altos History Museum has opened an exhibit. Friends of the Library is hosting a book sale at the Los Altos Youth Center, and the Mountain View Los Altos Community Foundation will be hosting an RSVP open house at the Neutra House. Thank you again, and City Council, former Los Altos mayors and elected officials, please remain in the ceremony area after, because we will be taking more photos. So with that, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and we're very happy to welcome you into our new Los Altos Community Center.